What has your time in AEW prepared you for this opportunity with MLW? Any takeaways that whether it was something you could carry over or something you would want to change? Any big takeaways as far as preparing for this next chapter of your career?
Yeah, I think just in the sense of being thrown into, I don't think a lot of people know that my very first match was on national television. It was that tag match with Cody against QT and Aaron Solo. I didn't do any independence or anything because it was COVID. So
Mhm.
that was my first ever match. So being thrown into the deep end like that, and then simultaneously next about 2.5 years just being in the those bright lights, big crowds, working for a TV promotion, I think helped me tremendously in that respect.
That was still the Daily's Place shows, right? Because that was still the
Yep.
COVID lockdowns.
It might have been like 2 or 3 weeks before we went back on the road. I think I was one of the
Yeah,
last COVID tapings, and then we hit the road running.
yeah. What was that experience like? Because you just mentioned your first match is on national television, but it's also no fans, or it might have been like when they still put like a limit on how many could go to the event. So what was that transition like going from first match, very small crowd, to then working with the bigger crowds as you get more experience each week?
So even though it was, nationally televised, I think if I would have went out there and it wasn't COVID and it was a jam-packed house, I'd have peed all over myself. I'd have probably fumbled huge. But having just the crowd out there that was what it was. It was just the boys and the girls out there, the extras that had worked that night or were working later, because I had to be out there for several matches as well. Every
Mhm.
time we went down, that little bit of noise made the difference, but it wasn't overwhelming.
Mhm.
Now, COVID was when I got there in February 2021, and it was unique. It was we would do two tapings back to back days and then be off the next week. We would go every 2 weeks.
Mhm.
But during the day, Cody was still there. And I think he was really pushing for like a school of some sort because we had so many young guys and there was nowhere else to go. There wasn't indies to go get reps or anything else. They hadn't had a school in place. So we would go out to the ring during the day and just roll around. And these guys they didn't have to, but they
Mhm.
would sit around and critique what they saw. Guys like Cody, guys like Jake the Snake, guys like my dad, like Tully would be out there. I remember, Dax and Cash would come out when they didn't have to, top tag team in the world. You would have all these guys walk by and say, "Hey, this was good, but maybe twist this." Dustin
Mhm.
Rhodes, all those guys, and that experience was invaluable because you couldn't get anything else at that time. So in that sense, I was very fortunate to be at AEW when I was,
Mhm.
because I was still at least learning rather than sitting home.